Institute for the Study of Race and Ethnicity. And he says the barriers and inequality
Here it is.
today is
The news about the
coronavirus.
coronavirus.
That have privileged certain groups over
That's
others.
right.
Strickland cites
The news about the coronavirus.
Took advantage of benefits like Social Security and built wealth over time. Meanwhile, African Americans were often denied the same rights. And in regards to Columbus, Strickland says the city is woefully short in investing in the social sector, schools, as well as health and human services.
You're saddled with student loan debt, that's going to make things difficult. Further, a lot of families, especially black and brown families, are in situations where they might have to support other family members throughout the process, so it really constrains choice.
Strickland also says wealth disparity is a broader policy conversation that needs to happen, in addition to the implementation of a living wage.
Hey there and good afternoon, Northeast Ohio. I'm meteorologist Ashley Beatty. Thank you so much for checking in with us for your updated weather on the One's forecast here on Spectrum News 1. It's an absolutely gorgeous afternoon across Northeast Ohio, seeing plenty of blue sky and, yes, pleasant temperatures in the mix as well. Highs for most of us remaining in the 70s, and into this evening, those numbers will be coming down very nicely. Now, notice a stray spot shower could still develop, but the vast majority of us will stay dry, and any rain we do see is going to be very limited in terms of our coverage and intensity. So for many of us, even if you do see rain, it's not going to be much more than a couple of sprinkles. Now, pretty quickly, especially along and south of I-80, numbers will be coming down through tonight. Away from that Lake Erie influence, we're not seeing those moderated temperatures, and as we clear out, we see those readings falling pretty rapidly through the 60s. Now, overnight tonight, some of us could potentially be waking up to readings in the 50s, at least away from Lake Erie. For this evening, though, remaining in the 70s, it's not until around 11 o'clock we see 60s coming back to Cleveland itself, but from there dropping off very nicely, and we do have a really comfortable forecast for you by tomorrow morning. Again, generally lower 60s right along the lakeshore, and then notice how we drop by another 3 to 5 degrees as we get away from Lake Erie, coming down to 59 for Akron Canton, and look for an overnight low of 57 degrees for Medina. So a nice crisp, cool start to your day tomorrow, but from there, temperatures will be pretty rapidly climbing. We're going to see a lot of sunshine in your Tuesday forecast. So remember, starting off near 60, already by 9 o'clock, we're nearing mid-70s. That's where we'll be for your lunch hour. And from there, we'll see those temperatures continue to climb a bit through the afternoon, working their way into the lower 80s for many of us tomorrow. And some of us will be flirting with mid-80s in the forecast as well. Akron Canton 84 for your high tomorrow. 85 is where we're headed for Mansfield. And even right along the lakeshore, temperatures will be cooler, but I'm still forecasting 80s across the board. So 80 tomorrow for Menor, as well as Ashtabula for your highs. From there, we're going to see a big spike in our temperatures coming our way on Wednesday, jumping by about 10 degrees to a high of 91. Notice there's a little bit of a dip in here Wednesday or Thursday, Friday, but that's only because we're reintroducing chances for showers and thunderstorms late in the afternoon, early into the evening, so that won't allow our readings to warm up quite as much. However, 90s are back for that weekend forecast. More details on your Saturday, Sunday coming up in less than 10 minutes. Now your Storm Track Doppler radar.
Eviction cases on the rise. How state leaders plan to help Ohioans secure their homes next.
At Spectrum News 1, our goal is refreshingly simple: to bring you an accurate, reliable, and local forecast every 10 minutes.
Weather on the Ones, every 10 minutes, exclusively on Spectrum.
Hi, I'm Larry Conte. My family are the owners of Portage Barnwell and Granite in Kent, Northville Barnwell and Granite in Akron, and Bethel Hill Memorials in Kent.
As a family-owned business, we understand the importance of family. We hope that your family is safe and healthy.
We are now reopened and here to help. For your safety, we are carefully following all CDC guidelines. Due to our unexpected closing, we have an abundance of inventory with savings up to 30%.
Please stop into our showroom or call for a private appointment so that we can help your family tell your story in style.
Spectrum News 1, a new kind of news channel dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across
The news about the coronavirus. That's right. The news about the coronavirus.
Include a bright summary sales pitch. So here's ours. Any questions? The Acura Summer of Performance event. Our dues are ring, and with online options available, you can shop our best offers any way you choose. Don't miss it. This summer, visit your Acura dealer today for attractive offers on the Acura RDX. Don't miss this event going on now.
Persons with disabilities can get the information they need on COVID-19. Information in American Sign Language can be found at Communication Service for the Deaf at csd.org/coronavirus or by video phone at 1-833-682-7630 or visit the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention at cdc.gov. Persons with disabilities can find accessibility options for Spectrum products at spectrum.net/page/accessibility.
Now that some emergency measures put in place to deal with the coronavirus pandemic are starting to expire, eviction cases are surging again across Ohio. A 90-day moratorium had been placed on eviction hearings across the state, but that has expired as of June 1st. Numbers suggest landlords continue to file eviction cases, and an estimated 503,000 Ohioans could not pay their rent in June. The U.S. Census Bureau says an additional 660,000 people were not sure if they would make their July rent. Governor DeWine last Thursday announced a $15 million grant to support homelessness prevention and to help people secure housing. This year's federal and state income taxes are due this week. You do have until this Wednesday to file your taxes to the IRS. It was, of course, postponed due to the pandemic. If you're filing, you might want to do so online. There's a huge backlog of paper tax returns because so many IRS employees have been working from home. That means taxpayers who already filed a paper return may be waiting a while for any refunds. Taxpayers can also request an extension to October 15th, but you'll still need to submit an extension form by Wednesday. An alternative approach for justice, how a group right here in Ohio is honoring the life of Elijah McClain through music. But first, Ashley is in the Weather Center.
Isolated chances for rain today, but we'll bump up our rain chances significantly by Thursday. I'll let you know if those showers still linger into the weekend. Coming up in your next Weather on the Ones.
About 2 years ago, I took a break from TV news, and it changed my life. Prior to that time, I've always been a good father, but I rarely got the chance to be a good dad. It gave me a chance to think about the things that not only matter to me, but to everybody. It also gave me a better perspective on news. I spent a number of years in Cleveland and Cincinnati, and it's given me an opportunity to see every corner of the state. I want to empower our communities and redefine what a news channel can be.
Every morning, the people of Ohio have the opportunity to wake up and start fresh.
We want to be a different kind of news channel, putting storytelling and community first.
Well, it's really humbling to be invited to our neighbors' homes and help them plan their day. Welcome to Your Morning News. I'm Sophia Constantine. Let's take a look at your weather on the Ones. We've got a large band of precipitation.
Your Morning News, weekday mornings on Spectrum News 1. Sunday mornings, take an in-depth look at your community. In Focus with Mike Kallmeyer, a half-hour show dedicated to the important issues, driven to bring decision makers together, and committed to elevating discussion and debate. Your community, your state, your show. In Focus with Mike Kallmeyer, Sunday mornings at 10:30 on Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Maybe I'll run for president, maybe I won't, but I will tell you that I'm not going to go away.
I don't think Michigan can become the Michigan of old.
We're probably the first professional sports team in the world that was built by the fans.
We're the biggest ice cream shipper in the nation, setting the standard for American ice cream.
I get to live my dream. I mean, what more could I ask for?
Conversations Sunday and Tuesday night at 9 on Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Hey there, Northeast Ohio. I'm meteorologist Ashley Beatty, and it is an absolutely gorgeous afternoon out there. Your evening looking very pleasant as well, with only minimal rain chances in the forecast for us through the rest of the evening. Maybe a quick little spot shower is going to be possible, but by and large, we're dry and really comfortable this evening, with the temperatures after sunset falling off pretty quickly, particularly away from the lakeshore, where pretty rapidly after sunset, we're going to see temperatures coming back down into the 60s. For areas right along the lake, it's not going to cool off quite that quickly, but we're still in for a very pleasant evening. Let me walk you through it. Readings in the mid-70s by 7 o'clock this evening. From there, temperatures falling off a little bit more sharply after 9 o'clock, and then we'll ultimately wind up with overnight lows in the 60s right along the lake, likely seeing some upper 50s as we get a little bit farther south away from that Lake Erie influence. Minimal rain chances through Wednesday, then a little bit of a spike here coming our way on Thursday as we reintroduce some of those late day showers and likely a few thunderstorms into our forecast as well. About a 40% chance there, about another 30% on Friday. So seeing more of those late day summertime pop-ups. Additionally, we're going to be bringing back the heat. Already by Wednesday, we're back up near 90, and for the weekend, we're going to be seeing temperatures right around there as well. Both Saturday and Sunday, I'm expecting a daytime high of 91. But heads up, with a surge in humidity coming our way later this week, those low 90s are actually going to feel more like mid to upper 90s during the afternoon. On Lake Erie, water temperatures in the 70s. Light winds today out of the northeast, 5 to 10 knots, and 1 to 2 foot waves. Checking out that 7-day forecast. Dry again tomorrow. Temperatures very nice, right around 80. But then we'll see that big spike in our temperatures coming our way Wednesday. A little dip there Thursday and Friday, but that's only due to increased rain chances during the afternoon. We're back in the 90s for the weekend. Overnight lows will be warming up significantly as well, only dropping into the 70s for the second half of the week.
For more than a month, people have filled the streets, some marching peacefully, others violently, to protest police brutality. But in Cincinnati, one group is taking another approach. As our Camry Nelson shows us, they're turning to music to honor one of the victims who was killed by police.
This was the sound flowing through Washington Park for the Cincinnati Violin Vigil for Elijah McClain on Sunday evening. Dozens of violinists from across the city came together to celebrate McClain's life. The 23-year-old violinist was killed by police last August in Colorado while walking home from a convenience store. He hadn't committed a crime.
It's really nice when, people from all over the city come together for something that's important.
19-year-old Madeline Deininger says an event like this was so important to her because she has the opportunity to express her support for McClain through music.
The protests are really amazing, and it's great seeing people come together, and I feel like this is just another level, adding music as, the universal language for so many of us is a really powerful thing.
This vigil is not only important to the artists who perform, but to the supporters as well.
I was in Aurora that day. I have a grandchild that lives in that city, and there's no reason why Elijah had to be treated the way he was.
With her sign in hand, Neil Villiers showed her support to a young man who she says didn't deserve to die.
It's no crime to be a nerd, it's no crime just to be an innocent person. And when I learned that there's going to be a vigil here tonight, I was determined to come.
Through this visual, Villiers says she hopes to see real change happen for those who die from police brutality.
I'm hoping that justice is sought, that the officers are either resigned or been fired. No, they need to be prosecuted and convicted. But there most of all needs to be change in the way officers interact with the public.
This vigil was one of more than a dozen others to take place across the country to honor McClain's life. For Spectrum News, Camry Nelson.
Tackling Growing wealth disparities. We take a look at the trends which have plagued African Americans for generations and how experts are trying to tighten the gap. But first, we continue to hear from activists, leaders, and community members about what's brought them to action and how addressing racial discrimination is so important to create a better world for everyone. Here's today's Voices for Change.
I believe that Cleveland is unique in the fact that we do have a very large number of up-and-coming black leaders, but we don't necessarily do the best job of plugging them into the opportunities that they need to get to the next level, to take over the helm, if you will, of political, business, civic, and community leadership opportunities. I've learned in my travels as an African-American male, not everyone wants to walk in my shoes, and rather they want to point fingers or make assumptions. And of course, assumptions about black men is one of the biggest problems that we're having in America right now. It's why there's always this quick transition to violence and aggression when men of color are stopped for a routine traffic stop. So we just have to change the way we think about black men and the way we communicate to black people and people of color in general. And if we can do that, I really believe we'll be much, much further down the road in a much better country. You start to understand things like what Jim Crow meant and how Jim Crow laws kept my grandparents from being their full selves and reaching their full capability. How redlining, to a great extent, limited the opportunities of where my family live and work and do business, open a business, etc. How limited education opportunities in urban core settings because of disinvestment or underinvestment affects the impact of one's ability to not just graduate from high school, but successfully matriculate at an institution of higher learning. If companies are serious about addressing what's happened in America, I think they really need to begin to establish report cards, some type of accountability to be able to look back a year from now to say, we were here when we made that or offered that statement, and a year later we can certainly point to progress because X number of individuals have been promoted, X number of individuals have been hired, X number of individuals have been invested in one way or another. It can't just be words. It has to be actions and deeds.
Get excited for the plays, for the rush, the cheers, the tradition. Get ready to put your business inside the action. Everyone is here for the experience. Because wherever their customers are watching, that's the stadium. Advertising live events and coverage is our favorite sports return team. At Spectrum Reach, we fan together.
America, we want to help get you back to it. But here's how, with the Ford Promise. Visit your Ford dealer, finance a new, certified pre-owned or used vehicle through Ford Credit, and if you lose your job, you can return it for up to 1 year from the day you buy it. You can also get 0% APR financing for 72 months across the Ford lineup. Let us help get you back to it with the Ford Promise.
What if you had to choose between fixing your roof or buying food? Help us make emergency repairs for our neighbors. Text REBUILD to 484848. People are getting back out on the road, and your Toyota dealers say, welcome back, America, with great deals on our most popular SUVs, like the all-new family-size Highlander, now with $1,000 customer cash, or lease a Highlander for just $299 a month, or take it off-road in the legendary new 4Runner with $1,500 customer cash. And every new Toyota comes with a 2-year no-cost maintenance plan. Welcome back, America. Be safe out there. Today, tomorrow, Toyota.
Voting is more than just casting your ballot. That is the most powerful tool you have. Here at Spectrum News 1, we want to empower you with an understanding of community issues that affect all lives. Decision 2020 on Spectrum News 1.
For American ice cream.
I get to live my dream. I mean, what more could I ask for?
Conversations, Sunday and Tuesday night at 9
on Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
It's rooted in our history, from slavery to redlining and Jim Crow, to the war on drugs and mass incarceration.
Tackling wealth disparities. Welcome back to Spectrum News 1. I'm Mary Lou Melendez. More on that story in just a moment, but first let's go ahead and get a quick check of your weather on the One's forecast.
A few puffy cumulus clouds out there today. For the vast majority of us, though, those will not be producing rain chances. Our odds of seeing showers today only around 10 to as much as 20%. Many of us are going to look like this through the afternoon. A few clouds dotting the skyline, but overall a pretty nice afternoon with high temperatures 70s to mid-80s pretty much across the board. Best chance for any little spot showers we could see largely going to be southeastern Ohio, and once we get into this evening, those rain chances pretty quickly wind down completely. And from there, a partly cloudy night with a little bit of patchy fog possible and pretty comfortable temperatures by early tomorrow morning. We'll see overnight lows for many of us falling down into the 60s. Some of us waking up to some crisp, cool 50s by early tomorrow morning, dropping to 59 Mansfield, Akron, coming down to 59 as well for Lima, Chillicothe. Now enjoy the relatively cool air while it's here, because we're going to be looking at 90s making a comeback to our forecast by Wednesday, and that heat will be sticking around. I'll have that weekend forecast for you coming up in just a few.
Research shows the wealth gap between black and white Americans proves society does not provide equal opportunity to all citizens. And that comes as no surprise to history and legal analysts who study these trends for a living. Our Dennis Bibiano spoke with two individuals who discussed trends which have plagued African Americans for generations and ways to help close the gap.
Kyle Strickland is a senior legal analyst for Ohio State's Kirwan Institute for the Study of Race and Ethnicity. He leads legal policy work around education, community involvement,
about the
and criminal justice
coronavirus.
reform. Strickland says the barriers
That's
in
right.
inequality seen today
The news
is the
about the
direct result of
coronavirus.
structures and systems that have privileged certain groups over others.
It's rooted in our history, from slavery to redlining and Jim Crow, to the war on drugs and mass incarceration. But now on top of that, you're talking about an inability to pass down wealth from generation to generation because of discriminatory laws and policies.
Strickland cites the New Deal era as an example. What's often overlooked is while the policy created the middle class we see today, mostly white people were taking advantage of the benefits and privileges and built wealth over time, while African Americans were often denied. And while many view education as a pathway to prosperity, Strickland says the economic return can be diminished for African Americans when it comes to student loan debt. Strickland says in regards to Columbus, the city is woefully short in investing in the social sector, health and human services, and schools.
If you're saddled with student loan debt, that's going to make things difficult. Further, a lot of families, especially black and brown families, are in situations where they might have to support other family members throughout the process. And so not only are you trying to pursue a degree and then a later career, but you also might have to be able to have to support families. So it really constrains choice.
Dr. John Navin is Dean of the College of Business Administration at Ohio Northern University. He says there is a clear difference in wealth and income and divided among racial lines. And the question becomes, why? Dr. Navin, who has studied race-based income statistics for the past 30 years, says the two factors that drive the wealth gap are educational attainment and unemployment rates.
The educational attainment is much higher for white households, for example, that have college degrees. And so if you look at the percentage of white households that have college degrees, it's almost 23%. For African Americans over the age of 25, about 16% have college degrees.
And if you dig deeper into the issue, Dr. Navin says other factors why not as many African Americans are going to college include lack of access and tradition.
You know, you have many more now white second generation, third generation college educated families who go through high school with the expectation that at the end of high school you're going to go to college. That's not true for African American households. households right now. And part of it is location, just being where they're located and what educational opportunities are available.
For those earning a bachelor's degree or higher, median household income is about $101,000 a year. High school or less, $46,000. The Brookings Institute, an independent research organization based in Washington, D.C., reports the net worth of a typical white family is near 10 times greater than that of a black family. The Institute also reports median net worth declined by more for black families from 2007 to 2013 versus white families. And when it comes to wealth, the ratio of white family wealth to black family wealth is higher today than in the beginning of the century.
Here it is,
Says in every age
the
group,
news about the coronavirus.
Access to health care and health insurance
That's right,
plays a big role
the
in terms of
news
status,
about the
life
coronavirus.
expectancy, even income generation. He says if education is the driver, then increased access is key and should be a driving force heading into election season. And as for Strickland, he says wealth disparity is a broader policy conversation that needs to happen, in addition to the implementation of a living wage.
If we truly believe that we want to address issues of racial injustice and address issues of wealth gaps and wage gaps, we have to believe that economic justice is a racial justice issue. This is not a fault of any one individual or any one group. It is on the structures and the systems that are not building the pathways for people to thrive.
For Spectrum News, I'm Dennis Baviano.
Heading back to school this fall will certainly look and feel a lot different this year. Teachers across the state are talking about their excitement and their concerns as their districts work to nail down a plan that follows state mandates as well as health guidelines. In Convoy, Ohio, in the western part of the state, Crestview High School football coach and American history teacher James Lotzenheiser is ready to start school, but he's concerned about kids learning, the social emotional trauma they may bring to class, and family unemployment challenges. About 2 hours south of here in Ean, Ohio, we talked with Heather Stamba, an American Studies teacher. Her concerns range from curriculum adjustments if they're not able to maintain face-to-face learning. She also worries about the risk of COVID being transmitted while at school and just the overall pressure of restarting school.
Looking at the numbers now, I have quite a few staff members who are living in fear. And then to be asked to come back at what looks like 100% with masks and some social distancing, it adds extra anxiety.
As both teachers prepare for the rollout of an official restart plan,